Welcome back, everybody. Excited to introduce our next session on the JobsOhio and FlyOhio mobility strategy presented by two of my colleagues, Mr. Tim Sweeney and Mr. Fred Judson. The session intends to provide a vision for Ohio's future industry as landscape and related to the smart mobility. And this dovetails right from the presentation that Colonel Zeese gave. A little bit about my colleagues here. Mr. Sweeney is Director of Advanced Manufacturing and Aerospace at JobsOhio. He provides leadership and understanding industry trends and creating strategies to attract companies and jobs in advanced manufacturing, aerospace, and the aviation sector. He has experience working in various high-tech industries in support of advanced manufacturing, defense, and aerospace programs. 32 years of manufacturing experience in that industry, and he has worked for major defense contractors, including L3 Technologies, Raytheon, Texas Instruments. His industry experience includes manufacturing of space products for NASA Space Launch Systems, Mars Land Rover, ISS Communications Testbed, and climate satellite programs. Also joining us today is Mr. Fred Judson. Fred is the Ohio Department of Transportation's DriveOhio Director of the Ohio UAS Center, or how I like to call it, the Ohio Advanced Air Mobility Center. He has more than 26 years experience at the Ohio Department of Transportation, specializing in UAS and geospatial technologies. He's spent the last 6 years in the research and implementation of advanced air mobility technologies for the state of Ohio. During this time, Fred led several efforts pushing technology advances in UAS and advanced air mobility, including Ohio's FlyOhio initiative. Fred is a standing member in several committees, including the ODOT Statewide Planning and Research Review Committee, the Ohio's Federal Research Network Technical Advisory Committee, OFRN Technical Advisory Committee, and the Government Advocacy Subcommittee for Ohio Aerospace and Aviation Technology Committee. Without further ado, I turn it over to these leaders in our state, Tim and Fred.
Thanks, Elaine, and thanks, Parallax, for the invitation to be here. Welcome, everyone. It's a pleasure to speak with you on Ohio's Advanced Air Mobility Initiative. We bring up our presentation. Ohio's Advanced Mobility Effort is a cross-sector initiative involving automotive, aerospace, federal military sectors, and supports industry electrification. We recognize that advanced air mobility is a market disruptor driven by a need for new modes of low-cost transportation, reduce maintenance, and provide business and consumer convenience. Many stakeholders, including the state of Ohio, ODOT, DriveOhio, and FlyOhio teams, JobsOhio, the OFRN, and support by Ohio college and universities are making investment in the emerging industry. Ohio is benefiting from excellent collaboration partnerships with NASA, AFRL, AFWorks, and an installed industrial manufacturing supply chain. Let me describe to you Ohio's advanced mobility vision. First, in 2 years, Ohio is ranked in the top 3 states for the development of advanced mobility in the air and on the ground. 5 years, Ohio is recognized as the national leader among states in advanced mobility technologies. And in 10 years, Ohio is recognized leader for the statewide advanced air mobility, cargo delivery, passenger travel, and emergency services along regional corridors, urban centers, and connection to rural communities. In 2020, ODOT commissioned an economic impact report to study the advanced air mobility and technologies and market potential for Ohio. This study, led by Crown Consulting, Nexa Capital Partners, and the University of Cincinnati. What's unique about this market study is the report is a statewide look at AAM, unlike focusing on a single metro area like Los Angeles or Dallas or Boston. What you're reviewing is the top-level market data of Ohio's emerging AAM market. Ohio's AAM market is estimated at $13 billion by 2045 and estimated to create 15,000 jobs. That's eVTOL pilots, operators, engineers, manufacturers, technicians, data analytics, maintenance partners, and on. The cargo industry value is estimated at $5.5 billion in the coming 25 years. I-71 is a major corridor transportation artery for the connection of the three Cs, that's Cincinnati, Columbus, and Cleveland, and is expected to see $325 million in revenue in the coming 5 years. Passenger travel at a mass scale will lag cargo delivery and emergency services. eVTOL passenger travel yearly demand by 2040 is estimated just under 8 million passengers, leading to the projected demand of 78 vertiport locations around the state. That said, Ohio is a viable AAM market, and we do appreciate the work of Crown, Nexa, and the University of Cincinnati. Now about the market segmentation. Citizens of our communities expect future transportation must be sustainable, affordable, and efficient. Advanced air mobility early adopter sectors include emergency services, logistics operations expected to occur ahead of air taxi and air metro services. The use case applications for AAM include medical organ transplants, patient transfers from in-network hospitals, emergency responses, large cargo delivery from logistics centers. The infrastructure, including vertiports, charging stations, command and control, airspace traffic management, must be aligned with market demand. Ohio's advanced air mobility ecosystem strength includes advanced technology, flight test, installed manufacturing supply chain, aerospace workforce, and flight operations. Now I'd like to talk to you about the National Advanced Air Mobility Center of Excellence in Springfield, Ohio. Over the last 3.5 years, JobsOhio, ODOT's DriveOhio and FlyOhio team, the Dayton Development Coalition, Ohio Federal Research Network, have worked collaboratively to develop Ohio's air mobility strategy. What we're experiencing is the market beginning to take off. The city of Springfield's making $7.5 million investment with the support of JobsOhio to expand the Springfield-Beckley Airport. The master plan includes added office space, hangars, vertipad, electric charging stations for eVTOL and EV vehicles, and also includes an eVTOL campus. Companies can fly in controlled airspace beyond visual line of sight, gain a flight worthiness certificate hours. This is a place where innovation happens, a place for technology development, collaboration, and capability demonstrations. As Ohio plans to deploy infrastructure, it's important to bring key stakeholders to discuss the market opportunity. An important part of Ohio's mobility strategy includes autonomy on the I-71 corridor, both on the road and in the air. Interstate I-71 is a major artery for the three Cs. Companies seeking business opportunities in package and cargo delivery or passenger taxi using eVTOLs or EVs are projected to gain market share on the I-71 corridor. Ohio's mobility strategy includes connecting the three Cs, including urban to urban and urban to rural flights. Ohio is working collaboratively with eVTOL OEMs and use case discussions. This involves making sure that Ohio's AAM infrastructure aligns with vehicle OEMs' business plans. JobsOhio and our regional partners are working closely with OEMs to meet with industry sector leaders to support the use case development and identify strategic partnerships. Major sectors include healthcare, logistics and distribution, automotive, and advanced manufacturing. Companies interested in flying their use case who want to know more, please reach out to JobsOhio or regional partners such as the Dayton Development Coalition to learn more. My ask of you is come fly with us. Thank you. Now we'll ask Fred if he could provide some insight of Ohio's infrastructure initiatives. Fred, on to you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim. That slide that Tim was on definitely speaks to how Tim and I worked very closely. Tim helping with the industry and business connections, and then leveraging the Department of Transportation and enabling operations. And that's really where I'm going to talk about some of the projects and initiatives that we have moving forward. Going out into the future and looking at vertiports, that is a huge question that we're trying to answer in the industry or for the communities as well. And so we've initiated a project last year with NASA AIMS, looking at our urban centers and where potential vertiports will be located. I can tell you, after the completion of the economic impact analysis, using those economic numbers, we're going to go back into the regional modeling and simulation for vertiport location assessment with NASA, and use those economic numbers to drive the number of vertiports for each of the urban locations. And then that will further improve our modeling and simulation to have a better understanding where we need to invest our money to either incentivize or locate infrastructure that will help support this new technology as it matures. Next slide, Tim. A project that we have underway in 2018, we started the Unmanned Aircraft Traffic Management Research Project led by the Ohio State University. This is a location of 3 radars in the Columbus area and along the 33 Smart Mobility Corridor. The picture that you see up in the slide in the top left is actually a radar to talk about how forward-looking the Ohio Department of Transportation and DriveOhio are as far as enabling this new technology. That's actually a radar that's located on top of the ODOT headquarters. That radar is there to support small package delivery for a medical use case that will be taking place this year. So we're excited to have that happening. And then the other part of this research project that really separates us from others in the United States is the ways that we are leveraging the ground connected vehicle infrastructure to support the air infrastructure. And I think that's one of the areas that we started back in 2018 that hasn't still caught on yet, but that is an exciting way that we're trying to leverage existing investments for the ground, how to support the air, how do they talk to each other, and then utilizing those technologies to perform aerial delivery of packages with the idea that this is also going to scale for advanced air mobility movement when we're supporting movement of people and cargo. Next slide, Tim. Our SkyVision asset is probably well known for a lot of the attendants here, but SkyVision, it was an investment with Air Force Research Labs and the Ohio Department of Transportation. And that sits there to support aircraft of any size. And with Air Force Research Labs certificate of authorization, we're able to safely mitigate advanced air mobility within a 200 square mile area of just southeast of Springfield Beckley Airport. From the altitudes of 1,000 to 10,000 feet. This is actually true beyond line of sight operations happening here without the need for observers, and there is not a size limit for that aircraft technologies. We currently have several vehicle OEMs performing tests within this area and are proud to support Agility Prime and the Air Force Research Labs. And if you're looking for areas to test, this is definitely an area to come to. So I encourage any potential vehicle OEMs looking for areas to test to consider the SkyVision asset as one of those areas. Next slide, Tim. Another initiative, so we were talking about how advanced air mobility and the infrastructure required. Last year, we launched the Remote Tower Initiative. The Remote Tower is basically erecting sensors and controlling airports from one location, so you can monitor multiple airports from one location. And initially, this was to expand small to medium-sized airports' capability. But we also realized that that technology suite that's needed to manned fixed wing is also the same technology suite we could use to leverage the new advanced air mobility technologies, whether that's automated conventional takeoff landing or electric vertical and takeoff landing aircraft. And so the state of Ohio has decided to pick this up as an initiative to extend advanced capabilities out to small to medium-sized airports. So that we're excited to have that, and we're formally proposing to the FAA to have a designation as a remote tower testing site. Next slide, Tim. And lastly, I'm going to talk about our NASA national campaign proposal. Much like Agility Prime and their wants to get the flying cars into the airspace, NASA also sees that, and they have what's called the national campaign. We recently submitted the national campaign proposal for a community integration of unmanned movement of people and medical supplies in the airspace. In that proposal, we had a total of 31 agreements with several vehicle OEMs who actually you'll be hearing from later today. Obviously, Tim and his network of economic development throughout the entire state. We have 3 major airports supporting us, 4 of the MPOs, though we are engaging all the MPOs very soon, as well as 3 major health networks. So the use case that we are targeting for the national campaign activities is for that medical use case. And as you can see, the circular graph, the way we see things happening is we will be performing operations under the national campaign, using our supporting infrastructure, asking for community feedback from our transportation planners all the way down to the public, using that information we gather from them to further improve our operations and supporting infrastructure that will eventually lead to our long-range transportation planning, our public policy development, land use planning, and eventually full public acceptance to get the advanced air mobility moving in the state of Ohio. And with that, I'll take questions, and back to Elaine. Thank
you. Great, thanks Fred and Tim for the great presentation. I appreciate it, and sharing with everyone here what our strategy is. So we have a couple questions. Fred, this one's for you. You talked a little bit about the infrastructures with the vertiport and also the remote towers. What other infrastructure changes do you see that Ohio would have to take in order to support advanced air mobility?
Well, and that's a hard question, right? Because not all the regulatory environment isn't all the way there yet, depending on your level of autonomy. So the question is, what do we need to safely integrate advanced air mobility into the airspace? And some of that is to be determined. If you look at other advanced transportation efforts like Hyperloop, they require a lot of ground physical infrastructure. We're talking large tracts and of infrastructure that's difficult to maintain and costs a lot of money. The advantages in infrastructure required for advanced air mobility, it doesn't have that physical part. But what it really has is that digital part. Problem with advanced air mobility is more in the digital domain than it is the physical infrastructure domain. So if you're asking me where we need to invest more in our infrastructure, it really comes down to that data communications, security of those communications. That's something that we're keenly aware of and trying to assess how to best invest in the future. And if you look at remote towers, while there's sensors on a pole at a airport, it is that, again, that communications backbone is what really is going to make that successful. So that, to answer your question, is absolutely more data infrastructure and communications related, and that's something that we're trying to make sure that we can not only install but also scale with demand.
Great. Important point there with the digital piece of it as well as the physical infrastructure. So I am going to combine a couple questions that I see in the chat here. It seems to be folks are interested in the reports you talked about, Tim, and also some of the requirements for the study, and also where to go if we want to test with SkyVision. So, Fred, is there a link or something you can share. We could post that later, but just maybe talk through what organization they'd go through to get that information.
You want to answer that, Tim, for the economic impact?
Well, so it's due out in May, and I know, Fred, there is an event that you've coordinated to schedule. Do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, do we have the ability to post? Is there a chat that we can post to?
You're muted, Elaine, sorry.
I should just leave that off. Yes, we could put it in the Q&A, Fred. So if you want to just drop, go up to the top right where it says Q&A and drop a link, I think that would be very helpful for folks to see that you are going to have a kickoff event for releasing the data on the economic impact study for the state.
Yeah. So May 26th is the results presentation, and then June 6th is when the report will be released, and that's public. That'll be released publicly, so you'll see news releases and LinkedIn posts and all that come through on that piece.
Great. Okay, Tim, one last question for you. With, the economic impact study and all the chart you showed with all the facts of the projections, but when do you think, how many years until general consumers will be riding around in one of these personal air vehicles or one of these carpool Uber type of eVTOLs?
Yeah, no, that's good, Elaine. And the reality is you're going to see the cargo movement, you're going to see for the healthcare, that side moving much way ahead of the personal travel. But it could be up to 8 to 10 years. So what we're encouraging is to do the demonstration, take the use cases. And I think there's also funding coming in from industries, the VCs that see the opportunity in Ohio, the infrastructure coming in place, and I think there'll be certainly I would say a combination of dynamics that will drive that personal the personal taxi. Yeah, we all want that, right?
Absolutely. So I'll jump in with a partial answer on that. I do know that, and we'll hear from the Agility Prime folks here in our next set of sessions, but I do know that it may not be for all of us, folks to get these vehicles in 2023, but I know that the Air Force is driving to get this testing and get us in the air here for 2023. So it will be exciting if that in that time frame, that 5 to 8, then we'll all be commuting, from Dayton to Columbus to go see each other much quicker for our meetings.
We'd like that. We'd like that.
Absolutely. All right, so that takes us to the end of this session. Fred and Tim, as always, a pleasure talking with you, but more importantly, working and collaborating with you. The state has been and continues to be on the right track as a leader, thanks to your dedication. So thanks to you and everyone on the FlyOhio team. So with that, I'm going to show a new poll. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, and there's going to be a new poll being shown in your display there. So if you want to take a minute to do that, and then we're going to return back to the main stage at 2:15 for the last session that I will moderate for us today. Thank you.